Toward the southeastern United States, the storm could hit the Carolina coast Thursday as a Category 3 or higher. Millions of people are bracing for heavy rain, flash flooding, high winds, and dangerous surf. In fact, one person reportedly has already drowned from rough waves off the coast of central Florida, and officials are blaming Florence. For more on the hurricane now, we want to bring in CBS News correspondent David Begnaud. He is with me from Wilmington, North Carolina. David, this area could really take a direct hit from Florence. What can you tell us about how people are preparing?
Well, first of all, Anne Marie, forecasters are saying it could hit as a Category 4, not a 3. If, in fact, that happens, and there is a potential that we're standing essentially in the bullseye of where it could make landfall, if that ends up happening, you're talking about one of the strongest, not one of, the strongest storm to hit the southeastern coast north of South Carolina, right? So for the first time ever, it's never happened before. This would be the first time that a Category 4 storm has made landfall north of South Carolina. How are people preparing? Look, some of the store shelves are empty around here. Folks are buying water, plywood, generators at the stores, heeding the warning. It's hard to tell from where we are. I'm not in every grocery store around Wilmington, but from the video that we're getting from our affiliate, that's what we're being told. What I can tell you is that officials have activated their emergency operations centers in Virginia, North Carolina, and South Carolina. You've got all three states that are on alert. And one of the things that struck me is in South Carolina, they're sending out people to the coastal areas where they need some extra help and personnel. So they're sending out emergency managers to help get them prepared, right? That's in South Carolina. In North Carolina, where there could be a direct hit, they're already mobilizing staff, personnel, money. The governor filed a disaster declaration and a state of emergency. And in Virginia, Anne Marie, we're told that evacuation orders could come as early as today. May not happen, but it could happen as early as today. The bottom line is today's the day to prepare. You got to get ready. This is not hyperbole. We're not one of these, outlets that's going to stand here and overhype it. You got to get ready. This could be the worst. And remember, they're talking about a storm here that once it makes landfall could essentially slow down. Not necessarily stall, but almost stall and drop so much water that it could be catastrophic, essentially. And Anne Marie, every forecaster and meteorologist I've spoken to has told me, David, perhaps the greatest threat here is going to be flooding. Yes, the winds will be serious, but it's after the winds, the flooding is what we really worry about.
The thing about it is I look behind you, David, and it looks like an absolutely perfect day. And so
Beautiful,
while
right? Beautiful.
You're warning people to take this threat very seriously, I imagine that it's hard to feel that a threat is, there's an impending threat on the way, that it's just a few days away.
That's a good point.
So, you mentioned that this could be a soaker, as they say. It could stall and dump a lot of rain. What areas are authorities sort of most concerned about in terms of the areas that are the most vulnerable?
So if you look at the map, you're talking about everything. You're talking about the three states, South Carolina, North Carolina, and Virginia, because the storm is so big, right? When I went to bed last night, there was one model I looked at that had the storm as big as the state of North Carolina. Essentially, it would cover the entire state, right? So landfall could happen on or about where we are, right? Just a little bit closer to the ocean. But you're talking about rain bands that cover the entire state, maybe most of South Carolina, maybe most of Virginia, right? That's how massive this storm is. So when you talk about preparations, it's not just people along the coast. If you're 20, 30, 40 miles inland, you still want to be heeding this warning because the rain could continue for 1, 2, and 3 days after the hurricane makes landfall. So as my colleagues who are the weather folks and the experts in New York have been telling me, David, the landfall is going to be important. The winds are going to be extreme, but the flooding that could occur after could be catastrophic, and that may be the most deadly aspect, so to speak, of this storm. And you're right about how beautiful it is. It's so quiet here. You know that cliche, the calm before the storm? That's what we are experiencing.